the Ultraflex Football podcast, where we have fun with our friends while we talk about football and anything else we want to talk about. I'm your host, Anthony Sutton. With me, as always, is Rob Green.
What's going on?
And starting us off this episode is Ryan Wheeler.
Super duper, here we go. That was so smooth, guys. I felt really good about that. All right. Did you know that there's a name for the phenomena where you repeat a common word over and over until it loses all meaning and starts sounding weird? Rob, I know you know what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah. I don't know what it's called, but...
Semantic satiation.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's
Give me an example for the dumb people like me out there.
Okay, so if you were to just any word, any like basic word that you use in the English language, if you just say it over and over again, like throughout a sentence, if you overuse the word, it often stops making any sense. Like if you just say any word, island, you say island like fast 30 times straight. If you want to just get like the immediate result, it stops sounding like a word after you say it like 13 times. Any word that you do that with, a lot of times it'll just completely lose meaning and purpose.
Should we try it?
Test it out.
Go ahead, man.
Phone.
You lost me.
Phone.
So it also, like when you're, if you have a good English teacher, they'll tell you to like mix up your words, because if you keep using the same word too often throughout sentences, it starts sounding really repetitive, and then it stops. Like your sentences will stop having meaning to the reader. So it's important to mix up your words, especially if
you're using that word again. Come on.
Yeah.
What's it called again?
It's called semantic satiation.
All right. As always, dropping knowledge. I appreciate it. We are going to do something different this time around. Typically, right now, we would do a rank 3. We are going to switch it up and do a mini draft. So we're going to do a 4-round snake draft with Ryan getting the first pick, Rob getting the second pick, me getting the third pick, and then we'll snake back. So I'll get the first pick in the second round, and so on and so forth. And we are going to be drafting Thanksgiving food items. So anything related with Thanksgiving could be appetizers, dinner, or desserts. Ryan gets to start us off. What do you got as the number one overall Thanksgiving food item?
Okay, so I want to clarify just real quick. I'm going to say pie, because pie is Thanksgiving to me. But do I get pie in general, or do I get?
You got to go specific.
No. Yeah, you got to pick one.
Then I'm thinking pumpkin pie.
Pumpkin pie off the board as 101.
Yeah, I got way too many pies listed for you to just take all pies.
See, that was the thing. I was like, well, now I kind of want to switch my 101, because if I could have my choice, I don't think either of you were taking pumpkin pie. But that's okay.
It was number 1 on my pie list.
Was it?
For Thanksgiving. Yes.
Okay, good.
That is the Thanksgiving pie to me, for sure.
Like
always have to have pumpkin pie. I don't think I was going to take it at 1, but...
I love pie.
Mostly because I thought I could get it on the swing around there. All right. I'm going to take turkey.
Ugh.
Take the meat. I know some people don't like it, but I like turkey.
Robert takes turkey. I think I have the best pick here. We'll see if you guys agree with my picks, but I think that the turn here is probably the spot to be. So I'm going to follow Rob with the turkey, and I'm going to get ham as my meat of choice at the Thanksgiving table. And I'm going to follow that. I don't think you guys are big fans of this, but I love mashed potatoes and gravy. So I'm going...
I don't think you could take gravy. I was talking with Sam about this beforehand. I think gravy is separate from...
I agree. You get mashed potatoes.
I might want mashed potatoes, or gravy with my turkey, right?
Yeah.
All right, then I'm taking gravy, because the gravy is the more important thing than the mashed potatoes.
I think so too. Yeah.
All right, so I've got ham and gravy. Rob, back to you.
I was hoping you were going to take mashed potatoes because I didn't want it.
Good. It'll be there when I come back around.
No, it won't.
I'm going to take stuffing.
Oh,
Turkey and stuffing is a perfect combo. Happy
That's
with
hard.
that.
It's a hard stack to beat right now. That's the Allen and Dig stack right there.
man.
I would have liked the gravy to pair with both of them, but
Yeah.
I can't be upset with turkey and stuffing as my first two.
That is good. Well, I got my dessert out of the way first. Now I guess I got to get serious now and get some like actual filling food. I'm gonna have to go with green bean casserole.
Mm.
I love it, and candied yams. So I'm going. I like my desserts apparently. So I have candied yams, green bean casserole, and pumpkin pie.
All right, back to Rob.
All right, which one do I want to go with here? Do I really want to let Anthony get the mashed potatoes after Ryan skipped over him? I don't even like mashed potatoes though, so I can't do it. I'll take sweet potatoes,
Sweet potatoes are good.
especially if you put some marshmallows on the top and melt them.
Yeah, sweet potato
Love that.
casseroles. I'm not going to say it's different for this, but do you prefer casserole or just regular like sweet potato with some brown sugar? Or
Yeah, I just prefer the regular
Sweet potato with brown
some
sugar is a candied
brown
yam,
sugars,
basically.
or yeah, but yams aren't as sweet as sweet potatoes. They're
Right,
different.
That's why
You
you
can
add
Google them.
marshmallow on top.
Yeah.
I'm going to go mashed potatoes. So I'm pretty excited with my
Yeah, at that point, it's an easy pick.
ham, mashed potatoes, and gravy on the ham. I would like to add a vegetable like a corn or carrot or something like that, but I need a dessert. So I'm going to go apple pie.
Nice.
Good.
That was my second pie. Trying to decide if the sweet potatoes with the marshmallows on top kind of acts as my dessert, or do I want a dessert here?
Oh man, I'm glad you guys both went meats. I don't care for like when I have Thanksgiving, I don't even need turkey or ham.
Ham's kind of a Christmas meat for me. I feel like we always have ham at Christmas, but I know some people do have it with Thanksgiving too.
I have a hard time swallowing meat, so I always feel like I'm going to choke when it's Thanksgiving, and then I just don't like eating it.
That's what she said.
I think this could be a controversial pick. I feel like you either love it or you hate it, but I'll take the cranberry sauce.
All right.
I'm a big fan of it, so
I'm
that
very
could be my
interested.
dessert there.
I'm very interested what Ryan says here because I feel like you need some filling food, but it's your pick. So what do you got?
Deviled eggs, baby. Deviled eggs.
All right.
Eggs.
There's some protein in there at least for you.
I got my protein. Yep, exactly.
You got to eat a lot of them to fill yourself up, but
carbs.
They are good.
All right, we'll post
Any
these on
surprises
Twitter.
there that didn't get picked for you guys?
Rolls. I thought rolls would
roll. That was like my number 4 listed for like main foods, not a dessert. I thought for sure like rolls or like cornbread would get picked, but
yeah,
I didn't.
We skipped over the breads.
We eat this every Thanksgiving. I don't know if it's actually like known as a Thanksgiving, but we eat mac and cheese at every Thanksgiving.
We've started having that every Thanksgiving too, but I have it so often that it doesn't really make my list of favorites.
Cream corn was on mine. I like cream corn.
We have I like cream corn. We have like the sweet carrots too.
Oh yeah.
So we got Ryan with pumpkin pie, green bean casserole, yams, and deviled eggs. Rob had turkey, stuffing, sweet potatoes, and cranberry sauce. And I had ham, gravy, mashed potatoes, and apple pie. So we'll post our results on Twitter and let you guys vote who had the best Thanksgiving dinner draft. So it'll be interesting.
Anybody else hungry? I'm so hungry now.
Yeah, I'm definitely hungry now.
Wow.
That's our first ever draft. I like it. I think you guys like that better than the rank 3.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I think that was. I personally like that a lot more.
We get more things out there for each topic to talk about.
Yep, just let it go.
Kind of compete and see. I don't know that there was necessarily like anything we were fighting over in this one because everybody kind of has their own personal food preferences. But I'm sure with some of these drafts, it could get a little different where we're like, ah, man, you stole my 101, you know? So,
Time to do the football portion of the Ultraflex Football podcast where Last week we did mid-season awards. So this week we're just going at all things football. I think the last time we did this, Ryan started. Time before that, Rob started. I'm asking you guys if I can start because I don't know how we can do this podcast. And the first thing that comes to our mind when we say football is that it has to be the Bills-Vikings game.
Yeah.
How...
It hurt.
Oh, my. Lanza. That felt like we were back for the last 25 years of our lives, and we just found ways to lose the game. That's what we did during the drought. A, we weren't very good, but B, like, whatever could go wrong went wrong. And that's what
in that
happened
second half, it was just one thing after the other of mistakes that added up. Like, things needed to go perfect for the Vikings to win that game in the second half.
You were at the game, so I was texting Ryan. You were in the group chat, but I'm sure you were busy enjoying the game. But we were up with 3 minutes and like 52 seconds left, and I was like, "All right, 4-minute offense.
Yeah.
If you're a championship team, you don't give them the ball back. Whether they do some crappy screenplay, they get a false start.
Yep.
That goes nowhere. The next play, and then third down is an incomplete pass. So they got the ball. The Vikings got the ball back with still 3 minutes left. So that was an all-time failure.
What was up with them just not running the ball too in the second half? They just stopped running. They were running well to begin the game. Singletary 2 touchdowns, right?
The first half is how the Bills' offense should look: run the ball, quick passes. Allen doesn't need to be a hero, and then they look good. And then the second half it turned into crap. And then don't even get me started on Cam Lewis. We should have done a podcast Sunday night because I was all sorts of fired up. But just knock that bleeping ball down. I know Justin Jefferson made some sick catch, but just knock the dang ball down.
Yeah, if he just knocks it down, he couldn't have made the catch. So
I don't know how you guys feel, but for the first time in forever, I feel like the Bills aren't the Super Bowl favorite for me. They make stupid mistakes, and it's so hard to watch them make those mistakes.
I think what makes it even worse is probably for the first time in forever, the Bills' best is the best in the league. So like the last few losses is even more painful than any loss in the drought. Like the Chiefs lost last year in the playoffs, and then this loss. And I think this loss is impacted by losing to the Jets last week and the fact that Allen, we didn't know he was going to play, and then he plays. Like if we lost 33-30 to the Vikings and Allen didn't play, then we're probably going into next week super excited.
Yeah.
But how they lost the game, Allen fumbling in the end zone, it stinks, and it's
it should be an easy fix though.
It should.
It's really just don't turn the ball over. That's
so
it. Because they don't punt really ever. They're always moving the ball. It's the turnovers that are hurting them. They're still putting up points, but they can just not turn it over and get a few more stops.
This is the problem with that. All right. Prior to that game, they were averaging. I was texting you guys. I was like, okay, it's been 5. They've had the ball 5 possessions now. Here comes the turnover. Sure as shit. Oops, I got to put the explicit.
There we go. Let's start swearing. Yeah. I was all flared up. I like it.
Well, they fumble. Devin Singletary fumbles like the next play after I texted you guys that. And I was like, well, this is what the Bills do. 17% of their drives, they turn the ball over. Now, because of the amount of times that they turn the ball over that last game, they're at 19%. Last in the league. 19% of their drives, they turn the ball over.
I meant to ask you this Sunday. Does that percentage include 4 down and giving the ball to the other team?
I would assume no, but I honestly don't. I can't answer that for sure.
Because if it does...
It also doesn't factor in punts for other teams that punt 50 times this year. The Bills have punted like 12. So if you want to consider punts a turnover, which they pretty much are.
Not really, because you're flipping the field technically. Like it's a turnover.
Okay, so if the Bills turn the ball over in the red zone and the team takes over and has to go 90 yards, what's the difference?
Well, you're not a big believer in momentum, but I feel like the last few games have showed you what momentum can do.
I think I'm mostly concerned. Yes, the turnovers is an issue. I think I'm more concerned by the lack of second half adjustments, which again we were talking Ryan. We were talking about that on Sunday. The fact that the last really the 3 games, the Packers games, the Jets game, and last week, we've had like 9 points total combined.
Yeah, no touchdowns in the last 3 games. Second
So
half.
obviously teams are going into halftime and they're making adjustments, and the Bills aren't. So that's alarming. And I agree. Right now we're not the Super Bowl favorites.
I think it's been 12 points the last 3 games because they did get a field goal at the end of the regulation.
Oh, to tie it, right?
Yeah.
It's funny though because that's the perception that like we all have that they shouldn't be, but they still are. If you look at all the betting apps, they're still the Super Bowl favorite by a decent margin too. Vegas still believes.
It's up to the Bills, man. Heal our frozen heart.
They
Warm it up
feel as
again.
though
Yes.
the next 6 games, or sorry, there's still 6 AFC games left for the Bills, so that they can't control their own destiny. They play Miami, New England, Jets, the Bengals that are all in playoff contention. So as long as they take care of business there, but it's hard not full on panic, but to be concerned that they went from the number 1 overall seed and leading their division to 3rd in their own division. Like, I don't know how you can look at that and not be at least a little concerned.
They are still 6-3, and it's probably good to face some adversity rather than just going all season with 1 or 2 losses going to the playoffs and not have faced moments like this to learn from. So I'm just trying to spin it in a positive way a little bit, but obviously it's concerning.
I don't feel like you have to say that. I'd rather be 15-2 and be the number 1 seed.
Yeah, but I mean the Dolphins and the Jets are overexceeding and the Bills are underachieving. So it feels like the Bills, even though they've lost to both those teams, it still feels like they're the better team. Like, because it takes crazy things for the Bills to lose.
Yeah.
I would definitely agree with the Jets. I think the Dolphins are just a very good team at this point.
They are.
Like, their offense is very good.
Their defense ain't.
I know the Bills statistically have one of the best defenses, but it seems like whenever they play a good team, they kind of get carved up.
Yeah, well, wait till they play the Titans in the playoffs, and then Derrick Henry goes for 150, 200 yards and 3 touchdowns.
If the season ended today, they would play each other.
It's crazy.
Did see that
right?
today. 3 versus 6, and all 4 AFC East teams would be in the playoffs.
Guys, the Titans and the Bills have the same record.
Yeah.
That's disgusting after the Titans lost to the Giants and Bills in week 1 and 2, and now they're tied.
Don't pick the game because we'll get there, but what do you think how do you think the Titans look against the Packers? You like their odds?
I do. I personally do. They never play well against Green Bay, it seems, but they're starting to get that magic back, man. I said they were missing at the beginning of the year. I'm starting to feel it again.
Yeah.
Vrabel is such a good coach, dude. That guy is an amazing coach, truly.
Yeah, he is. Anything else you guys want to cover in football?
This is the Bills podcast, the Ultraflex Bills podcast. Sorry, we took up the whole football talk about Bills.
What do we think of the snow forecast for Buffalo this week? Talk some more Bills.
Let's go.
I think
Maybe 6 feet of snow, they're saying. Crazy.
definitely the worst time to play the Browns.
Yeah.
The fact that they're just going to run Chubb and Hunt into the ground. I saw a few tweets that like half the team is sick. They couldn't even do a full practice. They had to do individual workouts today because so if you're sick, you got 6 feet of snow, and you're getting the ball run down your throat. We'll see what they're made of.
Seems like it should be cleared out by Sunday, but yeah, it'll be interesting. I don't know that there's any advantage, even if you are a good running back, is running in feet of snow like going to matter, like for offense versus defense, or a good running back versus a poor running back? Like, I don't know necessarily that Chubb would run better in the snow than Devin Singletary would.
No, but I believe the Browns' offensive line would make more holes than the Bills' offensive line.
Maybe.
But I think if Edmonds and Milano and Poyer are playing, then that also has a big effect on the game as well.
Yeah.
Our confidence level 10 pick last week did not win. Trying to remember all of our picks. I'll pull up this week's pick. We have Dallas at -1.5 at Minnesota. Is that right?
Yep.
At Minnesota.
That was my pick.
That's Rob's pick. I have the over in the Washington and Houston game. And Ryan is taking the under in the Pats and the Jets game. And I believe one of you guys have the odds on that. Let me see.
It was like plus 580, somewhere around there, right?
It's plus 581.
581.
There you go.
One off.
I was trying to find. Okay. So last week's, you didn't get that in, right? I was trying to find it the whole time you were talking.
No, if you got it.
All right. Last week, I chose the under for the Jacksonville Jaguars Kansas City Chiefs game. Got it. You guys had to go with the Bills. You went Bills covering minus 3.5. That was a fail. Under 43.5. That was a fail.
Big fail on the under. Oof.
Yeah. Yep. We got one of the three right, but we're going to redeem ourselves this week. I'm feeling good about it.
Phelan didn't fumble in the end zone. That would have been good.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, cool. That football, we're going to talk about fantasy here in a second, but in between football and fantasy, we have Rob's trivia segment.
All right, trivia time. So, since we're all from Buffalo, and like I just talked about a little bit ago, we are forecast to get about 3 to 4 to maybe even 6 feet of snow in some spots. So I figured let's make some snow trivia questions today.
You want to build a snowman?
I was going to say, I haven't been in
my
that
daughter
much snow in a
would
while.
love to build a snowman.
You have to build a snowman.
So I will be outside for sure building a snowman this weekend.
That's something down here. Like, the winters are awesome, but in summer, it's like miserable when it's 100 degrees. I can't do it.
Admit it. You missed the snow. Come on.
I don't miss 4 feet.
I think fun storms, big storms like this are fun, though.
I agree. It's obviously a little dangerous on the road, but...
Yeah, as long as you don't have to travel anywhere.
Rob doesn't work in the snow. See, we have daytime jobs,
right.
and I work in the snow, and I walk in the snow
inside.
all day. So, I'm not there with you, big guy.
I think
it is cool to see 4 feet of snow, though. Like, that's crazy.
Oh, it's so cool when you're walking through it.
A, it looks good, and B, there's a lot of activities you can do. Get a little fixer-up snowmobile.
All right, well, we're at trivia time, so let's get our pens and papers out here.
You got me, Sharpie.
Are you ready? Okay.
Ready.
Question 1. What is the record for 24-hour snowfall in the United States? And we're going in inches. Ryan, do you still want to throw out guesses before
absolutely.
choices?
I think we
What are you
have to.
thinking?
Man, we had that November storm, 2017, was it?
The Snowvember?
Snowvember?
Yeah.
That was 2014.
Oh my!
Ryan and
Because
I
It
were
was
living
8 years ago today.
Oh
Ryan
my
and I were
God.
living
Today.
together. We got buried.
Okay,
Yeah, I remember
we got
my car was completely buried. Like, I was driving a Kia Optima at the time. There was about a foot of snow above the top of the car. I had to completely dig it out of the driveway.
So quick math, that was about 6 feet of snow. We're looking 6 times 12, 72 inches. So
you do have to remember, though, that was more than 24 hours. This is 24 hours.
Sure as heck didn't seem like it. I feel like we woke up and we looked outside and it was like, oh my God, can't open the door.
I feel like an inch an hour is a decent pace, but all time is probably a little bit more than that. I'm going to go 31 inches. That's my guess.
I'm going to go with 56.
All right. Here's your options. A, 49 inches. B, 62 inches. C, 75 inches. Or D, 88 inches.
That's a lot.
No.
All right.
All right. I got my answer.
What do we got? Anthony says C, 75. Ryan
D.
says D, 88. Anthony gets it right. 75 inches.
Back to the 2-question lead, baby.
Oh.
The year that it happened, 1921. Question 2, what state did this record occur in?
North Dakota.
Alaska.
All right.
Whoa,
Here's
I
your
forgot about
options.
Alaska.
A, Alaska, B, Colorado, C, New York, or D, Vermont.
Rob, I need you to like wink at me when you say something so I don't fall too far behind on these. Because Tony starts looking down right away.
You got to figure out if I have a tell when
I have to
my...
do. I have to do Alaska.
Yeah, he has to do Alaska. I can't.
Yeah, if you're
Or
going to try to catch up, you better pick something different. I mean,
Yeah.
that could put you further behind, but
That could be a tell right there.
it
You know-
might have been a tell. You might want to switch it up.
I feel like Vermont would probably get a ton of snow.
You sticking with Alaska,
I am.
Anthony? All right. So Anthony says Alaska. Ryan says Vermont. You're both wrong. And it's not New York. The answer is B, Colorado.
Man.
It happened in 1921, like I said, in Silver Lake, Colorado. I had to look it up on a map. It was pretty much smack dab in the middle of the Rocky Mountains. So about what I would have expected once I saw it was in Colorado.
What did they do back in the 20s when you get that
I
much
have
snow?
no idea. Just stay buried until it melts. Like, what do
Yeah.
you do? I don't think it's like a big town, so it was probably just like shut down for a month.
They had the National
actually
Guard
was-
out here for us.
It was in April, which I thought was
Probably,
weird.
yeah.
It was really late, so it probably melted pretty quick.
That's crazy.
Get some sled dogs. Get some reindeer out there.
I mean, there was like barely even vehicles in 1921, right?
I'd rather have reindeer walking around than people. Reindeer are definitely better than people. Reindeer are better than people.
I agree. In 75 inches of snow, and when you don't have that
Yeah.
technology, so I
do
agree.
have one more kind of question. It's not an official question, but see what your guesses are. Since I said the record for 24 hours, can you guess what the record is for most snow in 1 year in one location?
In inches.
In inches or feet, if you want to go with feet. I have both numbers there.
I think New York averages isn't it like 120 inches or something like that per year? Buffalo, I mean.
That's what it's been recently, which I think was higher than average a little bit.
Okay.
I'm gonna say 22.
And we're also in the snow area, right? The snow belt.
Yeah.
22 feet.
I'm going to go 340 inches. I don't know what that converts to.
All right. So you're both way off. It's way more than that. This number blew me away, which is why I had to include it. It's 1,224 and a half inches, or the equivalent of 102 feet.
That's
or
insane.
a 10-story building, if you want to think of it that way, which is nuts. So this was in 1 year. It happened at Mount Rainier National Park in Washington.
Oh my
The state of
gosh. It wasn't even Alaska. I was thinking it had to have been Alaska when you said
Very close
that.
to Canada, though.
Wow. Yeah, that's 10 times more than we get on an average
Yes.
yearly basis.
Crazy. So that's trivia time for this week. What we got? Anthony gained a one pick lead.
Yeah,
Okay.
back up to
One-
two.
added
Back up
one
to
more.
two.
Yeah. All
I'm
right.
like, all right. Thank you, Rob. Now we're on to fantasy time. Same format as last week. I'll get us started with quarterbacks. Last week, I recommended that you guys guys and girls, start Justin Fields, which is kind of turning into a must-do at this point. He's been going off the last 4 or 5 weeks, and his performance this year kind of reminds me of Jalen Hurts a little bit last year, where like people still are asking if he could be a starting quarterback in the league, and fantasy-wise, the answer is definitely yes. So we'll see if the Bears go and get him a number 1 receiver, because I think he definitely needs that.
He's got one.
Who?
Claypool,
Komet?
baby. Let's go.
Oh my! What are you talking about?
I thought you were about to say Komet. I was going to lose it.
You said
Wow.
no, because I said that when we were doing like early, like way back in April. I called Komet a wide receiver, said that he's his best weapon, and you guys were like, "Oh, Komet's not a wide receiver; he's a tight end." So I couldn't do it
He's
again.
had 3 good weeks. Let's wait and see if he keeps it up.
In a row.
In a row, yes. Well, let's see.
Fair.
Let's give it for how many bad weeks in a row he had. He needs to do more than 3 in a row to get anointed
No.
anything.
Because the offense wasn't humming. Yeah, it wasn't clicking. The play calling wasn't there. Now they're adapting the offense to Justin Fields, and Komet is also along for the ride.
And he had very good weeks too. But my start this week is probably a stretch, about as far down as I can go. But again, that's kind of what I'm trying to do here with some of these start and sit-ems. So my start is Baker Mayfield.
Oh, good.
I don't know how to feel about that one. Oh boy.
Yeah, I mean,
Spin it for me. What do we got?
well, as at the quarterback position, there's going to be 12 guys that I say were, hey, start this guy, and you're like, thanks, Captain Obvious. So I'm like I said, I'm reaching down there. But last time he
Superflex
played,
league, hopefully, right?
yeah, there's bye weeks. You got people, Matthew Stafford could not play. Who knows what's going on with Murray? You could have a snow apocalypse in Buffalo, so you don't want to play Cleveland's quarterback. Why am I drawing a blank?
Brissett.
Yeah. So way down there, you have Baker. Last time he played in the second half of some garbage time points, he looked really good. He had 3 touchdowns in the second half. They're playing Baltimore. I think he'll have more opportunity for garbage points. And like I said, I was just trying to get a stretch here. So we'll see if it works out.
They are a 13-point underdog right now. So they're going to need to throw the ball, I guess, is your best hope there.
Yeah.
Lots of volume leads to a few touchdowns.
The offense has looked better, surprisingly, since McCaffrey left. Like, they're running the ball better. DJ's come alive a little bit. Now, that could be PJ Walker. Could be new coaching staff. Could be just a different vibe in the locker room. So let's see what Baker has.
I think I'm ready to see Sam Darnold again. Give him another shot.
Yeah, right. Why not at this point?
Start him, too.
Just start the Panthers quarterback. Anthony's start of the week. All right. On to running backs. You good, Anthony?
Good.
All right. Start of the week last week for me at running back was Jamal Williams. He had 14 points, scored a touchdown. I'll take it. My start of the week this week is going to be Brian Robinson versus the Houston Texans. So those Houston Texans, I think I've attacked them a few times this year, are still 32nd versus the rush, allowing the most fantasy points to running backs in the league. Brian Robinson had a career high 26 carries last week. Wasn't the most efficient with them, got 86 yards and a touchdown, but in fantasy, we will take that, especially for where he's ranked. So the touches will remain high in this game, where they're 3.5-point road favorites. And I think Gibson is probably also a good start this week, but it does sound like J.D. McKissic could be back. So I think he will eat into some of that pass catching role that Gibson has had pretty much exclusively for the last few weeks with McKissic out. And Robinson doesn't get any targets, so that doesn't affect his workload at all.
All right. Thank you for getting the bad taste of Baker Mayfield out of my mouth. So last week, I gave the suggestion of starting Donovan Peoples-Jones, who had 5 catches for 99 yards, finished as the wide receiver 22, I believe.
So close to the
21.
century mark.
Yep. So close, but he finishes the wide receiver 21. I said if you need a solid wide receiver 4, put him in your lineup. Guess what? He gave you wide receiver 2 numbers, so I feel really good about that. This week, who did I say is Justin Fields' wide receiver 1? Chase Claypool.
Never heard of him.
Chase Claypool, wide receiver 49 on the season right now, going against the league's worst defense against wide receivers. The Falcons are ranked 31st in total yards allowed per game, and they're ranked 29th in points allowed. The Bears are going to have ample opportunity to throw on this defense. And now that Claypool's been there for a few weeks, this is it. This is the breakout game. Let's go, Claypool. I called Komet out last week for my DFS play, so I'm riding the Bears.
I like it. I was surprised. I was looking at the lines earlier when we were trying to get our confidence 10 picks, and the second highest over-under of the week this week is the Bears and the Falcons at 49. I was shocked. It's only behind the Chiefs and the Chargers for Sunday Night Football.
That game was in strong consideration for me to put the under on for this week.
Well, hopefully for you, it hits the over and Claypool has a few touchdowns.
Hopefully. We'll see.
I'm going to do our production meeting live on air right now. Next week, we should switch who does what position, because I only have so many quarterbacks I can name, really. That way you guys can.
But-
Yeah, let's.
But I have
we-
this like unlimited pool of wide receivers I can choose from.
You do have the most to pick from. Yeah,
And
maybe we
tight
should
end.
switch this up.
I can't really name like the top 10 quarterbacks as a start, and then there's people on buys. So I have like a 8 to 10 person pool to pick from.
I am going to
Uh,
reuse a sit that I know I've already used this year, so
Well-
maybe it is time to switch it up here soon.
So I've said it before. If you guys, take the strategy that I go with, like I take a guy who's ranked lower than I start a guy that's ranked lower than the sit guy. So I'm basically just taking a shot saying that a guy who has been playing worse all year is going to have a better week and then I give a reason why.
It doesn't change the fact that it's easier when you have a bigger pool of players. To pick
course.
from.
If I said sit Patrick Mahomes, that's not very good advice.
No. You would say something more along the lines of like, who's the top 6 quarterbacks right now, and then you would pick like the number 6 to start over any of the top 5 guys.
Yeah, I know, but I'm saying
Yeah.
like anytime
It
anyone
still
says
it still
sit
sounds funny
Patrick
if you're saying sit Patrick Mahomes, even
Oh,
if you're
of
just
course.
saying I'm starting this guy over Patrick Mahomes. You just might
Yeah,
have to
there's-
rephrase the quarterback.
I think there's untouchables
Selections.
at the top there that you never see.
Yeah.
My sit last week was unfortunately Kirk Cousins, which he ended up torching the Bills defense. So I didn't see that coming. I don't know if other people saw it coming. I also think having Justin Jefferson makes him a lot better than he actually is, because Justin Jefferson is a freak.
Yep.
My sit this week, this summer, you may have heard me say that this guy would be a top 5 quarterback, and that is came back and hit me right in the face. Derek Carr. He's struggling right now. Devontae Adams is a little banged up. They just don't have Renfro's on the IR. They don't have any sort of chemistry going right now. And any chart that you look at, Denver is by far the best defense in the league right now. And the game's in Denver. So my sit is Derek Carr.
You know what's bad when the guy's crying at the podium?
I mean, I felt that in my heart.
No, I did too. That's what I'm saying. It's bad. I'm not bashing him for crying, man. I'm saying it's bad when you're starting QBs up there crying because your team is playing so bad.
Love is an open door, man. He wants to be a leader just like that.
I appreciate that. I do, but they gotta fix things. They gotta get it figured out. And it might just be getting a new head coach.
Things are not going well there. That's for sure.
No.
Not really in Denver either. Both of those places are Denver and the Vegas Raiders are both struggling this year.
Yeah.
I appreciate that Carr just doesn't let that go. You know, sometimes some people just let it go, and
He says, nah.
I can't
holding on to
fight
that.
for someone like that.
Yeah.
He's got to learn to let it go. My running back sit of the week is going to be James Conner versus the San Francisco 49ers. So the Broncos defense might be good, but they aren't the number 1 ranked rush defense. That is the 49ers. They are allowing in fantasy points only 10.44 points per game to opposing running backs. That's all running backs, not just the starting running back.
Wow.
So Connor did have a big game last week with 2 touchdowns. It probably is tough to sit him just with the nature of the running back position, injuries and buys and that. But I think this is a game to lower your expectations. And if you do have somebody better, to definitely play them. We don't know, again, if Kyler Murray is going to be playing or not, which affects that offense as a whole. I know they did, I think, score 27 points last week without him, but so maybe it doesn't. We'll see. I'm sitting him against the 49ers. So James Conner is my sit. And last week, I said to sit Devin Singletary, and the Bills decided to run like crazy in the first half. He had a couple touchdowns. Could have ended up a lot worse if they didn't just not run at all in the second half. So he only ended up with 16 points after scoring 2 touchdowns in like the first quarter.
Unreal.
Yeah.
Oh man, get that Bills negative vibes out of here, man. It's just that game was so hard to watch. I got
We gotta
sick.
stop talking about that game. Ugh.
Yeah. All right. Last week I said sit Brandon Cooks, which was a good call. He had 4 catches for 37 yards and like a 5-yard run, something like that. So he had like 8 fantasy points. This week, Wide receiver 36 on the year. Like I said, Chase Claypool is wide receiver 49. So I'm going a little low. Paris Campbell. Set yourself some Paris Campbell and throw in Chase Claypool if you have them on the same team. His last 3 games with Matt Ryan, Paris Campbell's, he scored 18, 23, and 20, where he's averaged about 10 targets in those 3 games and caught a touchdown in every one of them. It sounds like I'm telling you why you should be starting him. But before those 3 games, they played 5 games, and he averaged 3 targets per game over those 5 games and caught 0 touchdowns. I am a big believer in the law of averages, except for when it comes to Komet. And I don't think Campbell is an elite wide receiver, so he's due for some regression. Pair that with him going against the Eagles, the ninth best against wide receivers, and they allow the 3rd least amount of yards and points per game. I don't like his outlook.
I don't know about everybody else out there, but Campbell's that guy that is always on the trade block in all of your leagues, and no matter what, he never gets traded because no one actually wants him.
Yeah,
even he's doing good now, and still nobody. He's not tradable.
He's
on the block, but no one wants him. Yeah,
that's the problem.
My DFS play of the week last week was Russell Wilson, which he had 286 yards and a touchdown. So, I mean, probably just average, a little below average. I don't know how they only put up 10 points. With
told you not to do that against the Titans defense, man. I said it live on the show.
I know. Yeah. Well, I think it's more Titans have a good defense, but I think Denver is just a disaster.
Line's bad.
They're very bad. This week, I'm not going to talk too much about it. We've been talking about him. Justin Fields, he's playing very well right now. That offense looks good. The over-under of that game is high, so Vegas is usually pretty accurate with that, so there should be some points scored. So Justin Fields is my DFS play of the week.
Love it.
All right, my running back DFS play of the week last week was Jeff Wilson for the Dolphins, 26 points. Very good pick for the 25th most expensive running back on DraftKings.
Not bad.
This week, I'm going back to a more expensive guy. I'm taking Nick Chubb versus the Bills. He's the 2nd highest running back on DraftKings and the 5th highest on FanDuel. Still paying up for him. Like we talked about earlier, this game could be played in a snowstorm. It might not. Either way, it's going to be cold, which is going to affect the tackling, right? It's harder to tackle. Guys don't want to hit as much when it's cold. Chubb's one of the best running backs in the league. And for as good as the Bills defense has been this year, I know they've struggled a little bit in the last couple weeks, but they're really only a middle of the pack defense against the run. So if the Browns are going to win, it's probably going to be because they were able to run the ball well against the Bills, and they're going to try to establish that run early and often. So I'll go with Chubb. Hopefully, as a Bills fan, it's a bust, but we'll see.
Loves himself some Chubb. All right. My DFS play last week was Cole Kmet. I feel real good about that. 21.4 points, 4 catches, 74 yards, 2 touchdowns.
Use him again. Go ahead.
That feels good. I'd love to say I'm using it again, but I want to get some variety in here. This week,
you got tight ends to choose from too. Oh my
dude! I said I got wide receivers and tight ends. My pool is so large. I don't want you guys to take it away from me. But this week, once again, dabbling with the tight ends, just kind of poking at them because it's such a gamble when you're picking tight ends. But there's a process here. Tyler Conklin, FanDuel, tight end 18, cost $5,000. DraftKings, tight end 15, cost $3,400. He scored 23 points last time they played the New England Patriots. When he had 10 targets, caught 6 of them for 79 yards and 2 touchdowns. New England ranks 25th against opposing tight ends this year. I am just hoping and praying for a repeat performance.
All right. I like it. That is our fantasy time. Oh, I have one more thing. Fantasy. I traded DeAndre Hopkins yesterday.
I did see that.
For a 2023 first and a 2024 second. Is that a good trade? Bad trade?
I like that.
Good trade. Perfect timing, too, because the next day it was like, oh, Marquise Brown might be back this week. So,
and that's That's a team where I have Michael Pittman and Devontae Smith and Chris Olave, but Michael Pittman slowly falling down the wide receiver board right now, so he needs to pick it back up. That was my biggest fantasy trade. That was my biggest fantasy trade of the week. Now it's time for my segment. I get so excited for these every week. I don't have a big story this time. All I have is a history degree is useless because there's no future in it.
That's so stupid.
That was good though. That would make me laugh.
That's all I got. Nothing. No long story. Just don't get a history degree.
I hate to do this, but can I throw one in? I just wanna dabble in your
what you got?
in your dad jokes. I heard it and I thought it was hilarious, and I just had to share this with you guys. What type of shoes do kidnappers wear?
I don't know.
White Vans.
That one's pretty good. That one's good.
Solid. Pretty good.
Creepy
Pretty
van.
good. Rob didn't laugh.
It didn't make me laugh like Anthony, but it was still pretty good.
All right. Pick some games last week. Pretty good week overall for us. Rob led the way. He had 10, which extends his season lead. Ryan and I tied with 8. So for the season, Rob has 85, I have 72, and Ryan has 69. Nice. This week, the buys are Jaguars, Dolphins, Seahawks, and Buccaneers. So Ryan gets to pick the order.
I'm gonna go last. Rob, you take it the lead. Tony, then me.
All right. Let's start it out with Thursday Night Football. We got Ryan's Tennessee Titans at the Green Bay Packers, -3.5. I will take the Titans.
I will take Green Bay.
I will take the Titans. I'm just gonna start picking everything Rob picks.
But you can never catch me if you do that.
I don't need to. I just got to beat Tony.
That's true. Just don't finish in last. All right. Next up, Cleveland at Buffalo -8. I'm taking the Browns.
Taking the Bills. Gotta take the Bills.
I'm taking the Browns.
I said I wouldn't pick against the Bills, but it's time. Hopefully that works, and now they blow them out. Next up, Detroit at the New York Giants -3. I'm taking the Giants.
Giants.
Detroit.
Got the New York Jets at New England -3.5. I will take the Jets.
Jets.
New England.
Carolina at Baltimore -13. Ugh. I'll take Baltimore.
Take Baker and Carolina.
Yeah, I'm gonna take Carolina.
Chicago at Atlanta -3.5. Taking the Bears.
Chicago.
The Bears.
Rams at Saints -3. I'm going to take the Saints.
Same for me. It's hard to win in the Superdome.
Saints.
Philadelphia at Indianapolis +7. Give me the Colts.
The Eagles for me.
We'll go Colts.
Washington at Houston +3.5. I'm on the Commanders this week.
Same. Washington.
Same.
The Las Vegas Raiders at Denver Broncos -3. I'll take Denver.
Denver.
Ugh. Raiders.
Cowboys at Vikings +1.5. It was my confidence 10 pick. I'm taking Dallas.
I don't have the same confidence, so I'll be taking Minnesota.
I believe in you, Rob. I'm going Dallas.
Thank you. Bengals at Steelers +4. I will take the Bengals.
Bengals.
Steelers.
Kansas City at the Chargers plus 5.5. Give me the Chiefs.
I'll do the Chargers. I feel like they almost have to win this game. They go back to 5-5 if they don't.
Chiefs.
And Monday Night Football, the 49ers at Cardinals plus 8. I'll take San Francisco.
San Fran.
Arizona.
All right. Last week, that's it for this week. Last
Take
week,
this for another week.
we got the dog of the week correct. And for some reason, it's slipping my mind who it was. But that makes us back to 500. We are 3-3. I know the dog itself was Hank. Who was the team? I don't even remember.
Does it matter? The dog.
Oh, it was no, it was Roger. The Packers.
Yeah, it was because we had Aaron Rodgers as a home 5-point underdog.
Yeah. So, as always, the most important thing is the dog. So send us a picture of the dog at Twitter, which is at UltraflexFP. Sharing cute pictures of dogs, and you're also winning some money because now we are 3-3, picking underdogs, which is pretty good.
Not bad.
Ryan, we're going over to you for the listener question of the week. I just realized I didn't say the dog of the week for this week
That's not important.
because it's all about the picture of the dog.
I know.
The dog this week is the Bears plus 3.5.
Oh, that's
Wait, a bear is a dog, huh?
Yes. So Justin Fields and the Bears plus 3.5 at Atlanta.
It's funny that Rob and I didn't even catch it.
Yeah, because
We just totally were like, yeah, send us pictures of your dog, please. Not like some random.
We
Google
just want to
dog.
see the dogs. Yeah.
that's all that matters. All right, let's do it again. Ryan, listener question of the week.
Oh my gosh, I had it ready the first time. All right, Anthony and I had a conversation about this earlier in the week, and I wanted to bring it up to the listeners. A1 steak sauce. Do you use it with your steak or
Steak sauce in general.
Oh, just any steak sauce? Okay,
Or
that's fine.
A1.
That's fine. Yeah, that's fine. So any steak sauce, or do you like your steak just meaty, no sauce?
So my side of this is no sauce. Now I will
Same.
say that is like a steakhouse or like a nice restaurant. If you're gonna if you're not a good cook and you just make like a dry steak at your house, then yes, you need steak sauce. But if it's
you make
good
it well,
steak,
you don't need the steak sauce, right?
yes.
False. So steak is bad, first of all. Second of all, A1 makes it edible. Like steak sauce makes steak edible.
So you can't really answer the question. If you don't like steak, then you just don't like steak. So
I like steak sometimes with A1 sauce.
Yeah,
And I
it sounds
don't
like you just
steak
like
at
the
all.
A1 sauce. You don't like the steak.
Probably accurate. By the same reason, like I like coffee. I don't actually like coffee. I like the creamer in my coffee.
Do you like mixing your A1 sauce with corn and like whatever else you're eating the steak with?
Dude, when I have like mashed potatoes and beans and like some sort of meat, chicken, whatever, very rarely steak because I don't like it, but I put it all, I make it like one big concoction and I just eat it all as like, yeah.
All right.
So you're
Yes,
really
you
digging
like-
the sauce.
You like steak sauce.
Yeah.
I love steak sauce.
I don't think it tastes bad. I just don't think you need it on a good steak is really what it is for me.
I agree.
If you
I
got like a
don't
dry
like
steak, like you go somewhere and they cooked it bad and it's dry or tough, then it can help. But
What level do you like your steak at? Rare, medium rare, well done?
I usually go with medium.
Yeah, me too. If I ever get
Yeah.
it, I want
I
a
do-
little red or red.
Yeah, I want.
I like medium, but some restaurant, like if you go to like a steakhouse and you order medium, it comes out like pink. So like, I can't have it breathing. I can't do that.
Oh, you don't want to cut into it and go.
You don't like to see the blood dripping.
No.
So, never mind. I'm gonna save that for next week.
All right.
Better write it down.
I will actually. That's a great idea. Boom, done. I won't forget it now. Number 2 listener question: would you rather be deep sea diving or skydiving?
Skydiving is probably my biggest fear. I hate heights. My brother just went like 2 times in the last few months. He seemed to enjoy it and had no issues. I enjoy the water. Don't enjoy what's in the water. So this
This is a tough one.
It seems pretty miserable for me. But the fact that I probably would have a heart attack jumping out of the plane, at least I would be able to enjoy the water before I get eaten by something.
Here's my question though. So you're saying deep sea. Like, what are you seeing in the deep sea? It's just wide open ocean.
So yeah,
If you're like where somewhere was like, the coral reef, whatever,
Yeah,
pretty
that's what I'm
colors and pretty fish, definitely that for me. But if it's just gonna be like the wide open, scary ocean where you can't see any land or nothing, there's nothing in the water, I'm definitely jumping out of the plane over that.
Let's assume, because there's places you go deep sea diving. So let's assume you're going there and they know that in this spot you see X amount of animals swimming around or some sort of view that's worth it.
Yeah.
As long as it's cool fish and not like giant sharks.
Well, it's going to be giant sharks for sure, and killer whales.
No, I think I'd rather skydive then.
Is it? Are you allowed to call them killer whales, or are they orcas? You have to call them orcas. I feel like that wasn't PC. I'm gonna call them orcas.
Is that that might be a question for Rebecca? I don't know the correct answer there.
Oh, speaking of Rebecca, she said, "Give me the sauce," so she agrees with my A1 take.
No.
Aren't you the cook? You cook like stuff like that, right? So maybe you're just not making the steak very well.
Well, maybe I just don't ever make steak.
What's your answer on the skydiving, Ryan?
Oh God,
Ryan loves fish and the water, so it's got to be that one.
Literally, my 2 biggest fears are water. The water. I don't mind like a bath or shower, but like the ocean, nah. Jumping out of a plane, nah. There's so many dangerous things I'd rather do than either of those 2. Dude, I don't think I would live through either experience. I really don't.
I feel like it's the view for me. Like if you're up there super high, you can see everything. If you're in the water, I mean, you're probably not seeing that much.
The answer for me is skydiving. I agree. I'll take my shot with a parachute as opposed to being in the water, seeing animals, creatures that I don't want to see, especially not close up. Yeah, give me the skydiving. For sure.
I think the minute or two after, I don't know, I have no idea how long it is. I'm guessing a couple minutes after the chute pulls and you're going down would be amazing. I would be terrified to jump, and I'd be terrified to break my ankle on the landing.
I think the jumping's the hardest part, just getting yourself to do it.
Yeah, 100%.
Well, I guess after that, you don't do anything, right? Until you're trained, you got to jump with somebody, right? So,
are we talking like a what do they call those things? Like a little boat thing that you go down under, and you're like in a little submarine, like driving around.
I thought you're like swimming. You're in the.
Yeah, oh God,
you're in it. Oh, you're in it. You're in the elements,
dude. I thought I was in a.
You're thinking like a submarine.
No, you're not in a cage. You're not in a boat.
God. That's not even close. Then, who in their right mind would want to go in the deep sea, blow out your eardrums with no protection other than your oxygen tank and your hands?
People who are deathly afraid of heights.
Me.
Like me? I don't care.
All right. Those are the 2 listener questions. I'm going to try to wrap us up. We're trying to get under an hour for the first time right here. That's our goal. So thanks for listening this week. My Twitter is Ultraflex Sutton, Ultraflex Rob, Ultraflex Ryan. The podcast Twitter is Ultraflex FP. Appreciate you guys listening. Big game for the Bills this week. I hope everyone enjoys college and NFL football, and we will talk to you next week.
Toodles.
Let's go Bills.
Wasn't the whole outro. What happened there?
That was weird.
Try that again. And that's why we didn't get under a minute or an hour.
What's up, Ultraflexers? Thank you for listening to our show. We appreciate all of you for your support. If you would like to support us even more, we have a website, ultraflexfootball.com. Or if you would like to subscribe to us wherever you get your podcasts or on YouTube, that would be great. We would also really appreciate it if you would rate our show. Unless, of course, if you don't like it, then maybe make a donation on our website so that we can make the show even better just for you. You can also leave us a voicemail on our website if there's something you'd like to share, and then maybe we'll play it on the podcast. Once again, we appreciate all of you, and we look forward to talking random stuff again next week. Oh yeah, and some football.